It's very well known and it's a theory in psephology that whenever women come out in large numbers to vote in any election, the sway is palpable. I am very careful. I said the sway is palpable, whether it's on the positive side or negative side, you can never say. It can actually work both ways, right? Depends whose side you are on. According to the Election Commission of India, 3 states which are to go to elections in a few days have more women voters, and that is terrific news. And from several angles, the 3 states are Mizoram, Chhattisgarh and Telangana. I shall of course focus on Telangana, considering this is a show which is called South Indian and I am one. And the numbers look like this. The gender ratio in the electoral roll has improved from 992 female voters per 1000 male voters as on January 23 to 1000 to female voters per 1000 male voters. And in the month of October alone, which just went by, the enrollment of voters increased by more than 8.85 lakhs, which I think is huge. I mean, this is really great news. Now, if we look at the specifics, as per the final list, there are 3 crores 26 lakh 18,205 voters, and going forward I am going to just talk about the average, because reading so many numbers really does not register, but one has to. Now, of which 1 crore 68 lakh 98,418 are men and 1 crore 63,1705 are female, and of course, very importantly 2,676 are trans persons. The list also includes 15,406 service electors and 2,944 overseas electors. If you look at the entire gamut, Hyderabad district has the highest number of voters, while Mulugu has the lowest number of voters. Yes, women voters have taken over men voters, as we saw in Telangana. Yes, we are now inching very close to 33% reservation for women in parliament. Yes, we also had a woman prime minister. Then why is it that most of Telangana political parties have been most unimpressive when it came out to giving tickets to women? And this is actually uniform across India, but we are speaking about Telangana, and therefore, the ruling BRS gave only 7 tickets to women, the BJP 14 and the Congress 11. Also, even if they are given tickets, it is only because they can either be proxy for their male relatives. I was speaking to several people today, and these are very senior journalists, and they said, listen, come here and you will find out. It is the same story in Tamil Nadu as well. It is the same story in Kerala as well. That is the moot point. Are they just proxy? Is it just more of optics? I have been speaking about several so-called marginalized groups. I am not marginalized, I am a woman, but I am a woman of a different category. So, maybe I am privileged, but I am generally talking about women. Is that if you look at them as a marginalized group, then once again it is only about optics. There is no genuine engagement. Let us debate, and we will try and keep the debate apolitical, but of course, I will not promise you that politics has to come in here, because it is about which party tries to empower women the most. A. Sai Shekhar, senior journalist and political analyst, is with me. Suresh Kochatil, who is a political analyst, is also joining us, and Shyam Prasad Meka, who is from the Congress party and is of course a political analyst. All of them are now joining us on the debate. Hello to all of you, very good to see you. Sai Shekhar, I want to ask you first that if you look at, I will tell you what, when one was young and when we were children, always in school and all, we were told go to dance, do music. One was never given debating, and one was never, those were all reserved for boys. Of course, I as usual always fought, and I fought my way through and became a debater. When you talk about the kind of SOPs or affirmative action, or call it welfare measures, that every political party is giving, look at it. What comes to your mind? Shadi Mubarak, Kalyana Lakshmi, also the Congress's 6 guarantees, the Indrama, the housing that they are giving, Mahalakshmi. It seems like that they feel they treat women like sheep, that because everyone likes it, the women will also like it. don't you think that it is time that women as voters, considering, and you've done a story also on how women voters have increased in Telangana. You know, I read what you write, Sai. So, see, so I'm saying, and I really appreciate what you write. So, I'm asking you therefore that don't you think it's time that, you know, the political system looks at women as genuine voters who can swing your election this time, rather than just giving them Shadi Mubarak and Kalyana Lakshmi, etc.
Yeah, women have always been traditionally a very important, they contribute an important chunk of votes and they can tilt the electoral result. This has been, at least I have been observing elections since 1983 when N.T. Ramarao first floated his Telugu Desam. I was in 10th grade at that time, but then we were very politically aware because of N.T. Ramarao. And always women made long serpentine queues in front of polling stations, and they exercised their franchise. And rightly so, women's voting would normally decide which way the result is going to be. This has been proven, in fact, and so women's when you are talking about the allotment of seats to the women,
Yeah.
by various political parties, BRS has allotted 7 and Congress has allotted 11 and BJP has given 14.
Yeah.
Which is a very minuscule percentage. BJP in fact did not reach even 10%.
Yeah.
And BRS is half of it. And Congress is, it has found a middle path. But yesterday or the day before, when I was participating in an interactive session with Mrs. Kavita Kalvakuntla, daughter of the Chief Minister, in TV9. TV9 also is doing a program called 5 Editors, like Bharatvarsha.
Yes.
So I have participated in that, and I personally raised this question about women representation. BRS ignoring the women reservation, leave the reservation aside, number of seats, allotment of number of seats, as opposed to in YSR government, he had 6 women ministers in his cabinet.
True.
Though there is a limitation to number of cabinet ministers, he has accommodated maximum number of women. And I took that analogy and asked this question to Madam Kavita. And she said, Indian political situation itself across the board, not just in Telangana, is only factoring in winnability, and they are somehow not weighing the option of promoting a woman to the elected positions. This is a dichotomy, and that is why several political parties have been fighting for exclusive women's reservation. And finally the bill has been passed in the Lok Sabha recently, though it has been counted off. The efforts to have it introduced long ago have counted off for a variety of reasons, which most of the analysts and most of our audience also know, and you of course very well are aware, being in Delhi. But then she also has been saying that winnability is being factored in.
Yeah, but Sai Shekhar, Sai Shekhar, she's also someone who has, come to Delhi and, really agitated about the women's reservation.
Yes, at Jantar Mantar.
Yeah, in Jantar Mantar, I have been for that rally. My whole point is this: it's all very well to acknowledge. Why doesn't she change that thing in the BRS? After all, she is the Chief Minister's daughter.
I have asked this question, Sudha. I have asked this question. Why could she not influence KCR?
Right.
And what it takes to influence KCR to allot the maximum number of tickets to women? So, in this process of allotting tickets to the legislative bodies, some transformation, actually not transformation, metamorphosis has to occur, and for that reason, we are going with the flow across the nation. Whatever is going on, we are just following suit, and we are not deviating from that. But she hoped that she would be able to get maximum number of women.
Yeah, let's wait and see, because even women ministers, if you look at it, I mean, we all know Sabita Indra, she's there in the party, but apart from that, also there is a
And
welfare
there is another
minister,
minister,
Rathod.
Mrs. Satyavati Rathod, who is
Rathod is there,
Minister for
yes,
Tribal
for
Welfare.
tribal affairs. I know these two. Apart from that, there is no one. But the power is still in the men's hand. When you talk about BRS, you are talking about Harish Rao, you are talking about KTR Garu, KCR Garu. It will not change. Even Kavita, I don't think is given the same, has the same gravitas. Shyam Prasad Meka, let me come to you. In your manifesto, you were first. Before the manifesto, Shyam Prasad Meka, you came up with the 6 guarantees. Even in that, you look at it, Ma Lakshmi, Indrama, Inlo, Graha Jyoti, etc., etc. As a party, because I said we also had a woman prime minister in this country from your party, obviously, the iconic Mrs. Indira Gandhi. I am asking you that first of all, it is so heartwarming to see that the women voters have increased in Telangana, and they can sway the elections. I mean, we saw this happening in Bihar when Nitish Babu stood for elections. We saw this happening when Akhilesh stood for elections, and Akhilesh said कि मैंने साइकिल दिया उन लोगों को, उन्होंने मेरे लिए वोट किया. I think it was 2012 if I am not wrong. But I am asking you, what do you expect of the women of Telangana? Because their status remains the same. So why is it that only women centric things are given to them? Because let me tell you, analysts and psephologists have said women don't vote the same way as men do. Caste doesn't matter to them. Yes, there can be duress. My husband could be beating me, you vote for this party. But mostly when women go and vote, they vote because they think through their head as to what is for the general good.
Good evening, Sudha. Thanks for bringing up this important topic. It's a heartwarming news that finally the gender ratio in the electoral rolls is changing, which is a very good thing. Now, coming to our issues, see, we are still a male-dominated society. Accept that. That's the truth. Because whatever we are doing for women, it is done in such a patronizing way, as if women need some sort of a protection or empowerment. No, don't tamper with them. Just let them be. Let them be. They are as good as anybody. Then why do these guys think they need some help or this patronizing attitude? Make them Devi Devatas, make them lordly banas, make them what is all this nonsense? This is basically when I see such things, I immediately get a reminder that hey, this is still a male world, right? So I think that change needs to come, and that should come from the leaders, because we in politics we claim ourselves to be the leaders, and we should not get away from it.
Right.
Just like as Sai Shekhar was telling, just like Kavita did. No, we are accountable. We need to do. Who else will do?
Yeah.
Now, coming to tickets, not only the tickets, the simple question is, how many of these parties can say their district general secretaries, how many of them are women? Where are you actually including them in the system? You are not. Then at the time of tickets, you only get a few proxies. Other than that, where are the women? See, there is actually statutory mandate as far as local government is concerned. What is happening there? Why can't we fix the system there? Why can't we avoid these proxy as women representatives?
Yeah, because
why
you
can't
said,
we?
Yeah, because you said the answer is in the question you raised, Shyam Prasad Meka, where you said it's still male dominated, and more than society, it's politics, and therefore you can't possibly say don't be a proxy for your father, brother, son, husband, just do what you have to. But because the numbers look so good, there must have been some kind of an empowerment. That empowerment has to reflect itself, but it's not reflecting itself in trying to say, okay, 20% seats I will give to women. Neither has your party done it, I mean, nor has BJP done it, and nor has the BRS done it. Let me come back to you. Suresh Kochatil, let me come to you. According to some analysts, and I am not, I think they are saying that the women of Telangana are during this election, there are some areas where the problems have come to the fore. Kodangal, for instance, where you see that the alcohol is creating massive problems, and the women are struggling day in and day out. If you talk about you know, the NCRB statistics, the crimes against women, especially domestic violence, Telangana ranks very, very high when it comes to this. You talk about Dubak, you know, 70% of that is 1 lakh voters are women. They are all struggling because the entire handloom weaving industry does not work. The BD workers, they say they have to struggle day in and day out. And you know what's the worst thing? Maybe it's a pan-Indian story, Suresh. There is no one to take cognizance of their problems. So if you look at women by and large, I mean, it's all very well to say what we say, that the numbers have increased, but the thing is their dignity has depleted. Would you agree?
Yes, I agree. I mean, I come from a state, okay, I was only born there, but I grew up in Hyderabad. But Kerala is a classic example of it. My second name, Kochatil, gives it all away. It's my mother's house name. We follow the matrilineal system in the Nayar Menon community. Now, when a woman is educated, they always say, educate a girl and you educate a village. And I'm surprised that in this particular electoral roll revision, we see a rise not just in Telangana. Same thing has happened in Andhra. I was just going through the data.
Mizoram?
Same thing has happened in Chhattisgarh. It's happened in Madurai, Coimbatore, places which are not going for elections now at all, but there's a revision last month.
Right.
Everywhere, the number of women voters have risen. In fact, I was doing a deep dive last week into an election analysis on a news debate. And I found that even in Adilabad district, which has a maximum number of scheduled tribe constituencies, Adivasis and Lambadas, there has been a rise in women electors registering. Now, look at this thing. Traditionally, these were places, the tandas, where women, the girl children were killed as soon as they were born. Now, how do we see a rise in the population? This means it happened in the last 2 decades, because when a 2-year-old kid cannot be registered as an electorate. Obviously, this has happened in the last few years. But when I look at it, the data that you look at from the point of view of many elections, you look at the number of young voters, 18 to 19 years old, 10 lakhs added on, okay? Now there's a big difference. Number of male voters are 5 lakh 70 and the number of women voters are only 4 lakh 29, which means there are lesser number of women registering and at the 18 to 19 years age group. Now there must be many reasons for it, but the way I'm looking at it is possibly the older women, the women who are in the 20s, who missed out registering last time. There have been a substantial amount of election campaigning in terms of trying to get voters registered this time. A lot of political parties have taken the initiative. That is possibly paying off.